Talking to Mr. NDarby, who is the state leader, in dealing with the Census 2010 in the state of Tennessee, and Ms. Trudy Parham, who is also a representative, a partnership representative, working with Mr. Darby. And in a real sense, I think, Ms. Parham, you've got your counterparts, both of you have your counterparts in every state. Is that what we're saying?
Yes.
And so when we talk about what's going on in the state of Tennessee, we're also talking about what's going on in Kentucky and all of these other states, and so very good. Let's look at that, the census. I think that one of the things that we've heard said about that census, Mr. Darby, is that a large number of folks have some kind of fear in reference to signing it and turning it in. Why don't you speak to that? I understand that's part of the message that we have to have, that you have to have.
You're part of it, and I think all of us are going through that. We're in the Charlotte region, there are 5 states, and part of all of our message in the Charlotte region is that the Hispanics are afraid to fill it out because they think they may be deported. But see, this badge certifies that not any information that's collected from anyone is shared with any agency or the president before he gets it, anyone else. And if it's found out that any of the employees share this information, you can get a $250,000 fine, 5 years in jail, or both. And so for that reason, we're trying to encourage both African-American male, especially the Hispanic or Latino community, is that there is nothing to fear by filling out the census form. There was an article in this week's Tennessee about Tennessee need the Latino community. In 2000, the population was 26,000. Now it's 46,000. So you can imagine how much money that would create if each of the Latinos fill out that form. And then if more African Americans, plus Indians and et cetera, filled it out. And we're out here to work with the hard to count communities.
And so, Ms. Parham, you sort of deal with large sponsors. I think you mentioned you partnership with the mayors of cities and et cetera, et cetera. What have you found? What have been some of your experiences dealing with bringing these entities into cooperation with what?
Okay, a very good question. Since 1790, the census is required by the constitutional law to count everybody every 10 years. And the benefit of that is that you as House of Representatives will be set up based on that count. Redistricting will occur based on that count. But monies that will come back into every city and county will be based on that population count. And meeting with the mayors, the city mayors and the county mayors, they understand the importance of making sure everyone is counted, because schools are at stake. Title I schools, free lunch programs, health care programs, Medicaid, WIC programs, senior citizen programs, Meals on Wheels. Those are grant dollars, and if they do not get an accurate count in their city, the amount of money that come into that city will be to fund those programs, to fund the Title I schools, will be impacted. And when meeting with some of the mayors, some of them lost a lot of money, and they are very committed to make sure that they get the highest count possible, to make sure they have money to fund the Title I schools and their WIC programs in the health department, and the roads and college tuition. So it is critical that the city mayors and county mayors and the governor understand the importance of it. Our goal is to make sure and encourage the citizens to please send that form back in so they would understand why it is important to each one of us individually. So they are very committed. What we did as partnership specialists, we've set up complete count committees with every mayor in the state of Tennessee. And what they did is put together committees of volunteers in every city to help us motivate and encourage citizens to send that money back, because as Neil mentioned, the total population count, only the numbers, by constitutional mandate, will go to the President of the United States on December the 31st, 2010. But by law, March 2011, that total population count will go to the governor. Once it goes to the governor, he would then give it to the county mayors. The county mayor would then contact their city mayors and let each city mayor know what their population count, and that's how much money that they will get based on that population, and it will go into their general funds to begin to disperse. So if the count is high, they have more money to operate the city for community services, libraries, with some of our partners. And Chamber of Commerce are some of our partners. So we partner with every entity in the community because all of them use monies either from grants or monies coming in from different sources that impact the count in that city.
Very good. And so, in a real sense, Mr. Darby, when the count is made, the money after they figure the count out actually goes into the budgets of these cities and these counties and et cetera. And so it's an immediate kind of thing. It's nothing that we have to count and find out, and then later on somebody's going to send us some money or whatever. But it's sort of an immediate thing where the money is put into the bank almost immediately, and you can start using the money almost immediately. Is that what we're saying?
Well, the money is actually sent to the governors.
Okay.
The governor will feed it out to the cities.
Okay.
And the city will feed it out to the entities in the city, because the majority of the money in the article that I just read was spent on highway improvement. Plus we got schools and other things that Trudy mentioned a few minutes ago. And I need to tell you the total amount of money is around $435 billion a year for 10 years. And depending on the count, each city would get a share of that $435 billion.
Okay, and as we enter this, the end of this second segment, what we're saying here is that if your count is low, your money is low. And those individuals who are standing back and refusing to participate in the census will be responsible for that low count. Exactly. And more than likely, most of those individuals that are standing back are the individuals who will be assisted, for the most part, in reference to this count. Is that what? Because I think that in a real sense, when you look at the census itself, that the more educated individuals will probably be the individuals that will probably fill the census out. And those individuals who are on WIC programs and et cetera, single mothers and et cetera, they will be the ones that can benefit from it and will have the largest impact if they do not fill out the, so it's important to fill out the census. Okay, and of course we'll take this second commercial break, after which we'll come back and deal with some other aspects. To Mr. Darby and